One of my favorite parts about WEquil School is all of the businesses our students end up creating. Like, Sawyer's Chess Club. And, he started a chess club and a chess...
He's 7, by the way.
Yes, 7. 7 years old, started a chess class and a chess club, and he already has one paying client, and I think at least like 2 or 3 different people coming in his club. He just started this chess club, and it's amazing, and he's already making money from it. And I think
there's also Chloe started her Focus Friends Club, where basically helping kids to focus together and get their work done, and that's something.
The last meetup was so much fun. I am very loyal to Focus Friends. I'm also a member of Focus Friends.
Yeah, well, it's also, one of our students named Kala, she started a Mother's Helper Club of, maybe I'm not quite ready for babysitting, but I want to be a mother's helper, and that's a business that she started. Yeah, and also in publishing projects and resources for other kids, building a community around that, because maybe other kids weren't aware of the mother helpers concept and want to know how to get started, and she's providing resources for that.
And Ileana started a podcast where she's talking about, I think, lessons from music, was it?
Yeah.
And there are just so many students.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we already talked about Allison's debate club at length. In our previous video, but
there are just so many students creating businesses, which, now that I think about it, what is your opinion as to why that is?
I think a big reason why is just because technology has enabled people to create value at such a low cost. Mm-hmm. And that's something that WEquil app is helping with is how can we lower that cost even more? Mm-hmm. And so part of what the platform does is it's combining all of the core functionality that you might need for a website, for payments, for community engagement, engaging with your customers, engaging with your employees if you have them, or your leadership team. All of these things, people are generally juggling a lot of platforms to do, but with WEquil app, it takes 2 minutes to create a room and just, maybe an hour to set all these other things up. And there you go. Your business is up and ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's something that we didn't initially realize that we did, but it's something that came about because in the early days of WEquil School, we just noticed so many students creating businesses, and they were needing to learn a bunch of platforms in order to do it. But also sometimes it can be less safe if you're using other platforms, you don't know the other people on there.
I think we just create a really helpful environment that it's the real world, right? It's very much like the real world, except it's a bit filtered to it in the best ways.
Right. And it's an education platform, and it's focused around constructive engagement, and it's based in private communities, so there's a lot of safety features. But I think that the main things that actually allow for entrepreneurship is freedom and encouragement. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to traditional models of schooling where, you have lessons that you need to do, especially in public school, you just don't have the freedom to do any sort of entrepreneurial endeavor. But even for a lot of homeschoolers and those doing alternative education solutions, they might not have the support from parents and educators to do those sorts of things because they don't even realize that it's a possibility for young people to actually start to do these things. Like, for example, when I was 9 years old, I published a book on Kindle, like a creative story that I was writing. And that's something that, that's out there. People can pay me money for this book that I wrote.
Oh, yeah,
and that's something that anybody can do. And many young people don't realize that that's a possibility. You don't need to go through a publisher to publish your book. And anybody can find out about it. And there's just so many ways in which that is now being enabled. We've had a lot of students who have created creative stories, and also a lot of students who have started teaching classes, many of which were teaching programming, but also other subjects as well.
Well, I think that at WEquil School, what we focus on trying to help kids do is to create value, to create something that's novel and useful.
Yeah.
And that's what makes something valuable. And when you have something that's valuable, that's when you start to actually, well, if you have something that's valuable, it's really, really easy to start a business from that and start charging something for it.
That's really the mindset of an entrepreneur, is creating value.
And I think the reason why you don't really see this a lot with other kids is that their education is not centered around creating something novel and useful. But once you start having that mindset of, oh, how's this going to help people? And how's this going to help people? And, oh, I want to make this even more entertaining or something like that. That's exactly, like you said, the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Well, it's not like it has to be a lemonade stand, and it's not something that has to be this super ambitious project that takes months, but it's something that is entrepreneurial. Yeah, it's something that has that potential to make money, but these kids aren't doing it for the point of making money. It's really about, it's really about how we're training these kids to think like an entrepreneur. And a lot of parents, they've asked us in the past, like, hey, maybe I don't want my kid to be an entrepreneur, but it solves so many problems because one, if kids are creating a business around something they're interested, they're motivated. And they're doing it because they want to help their friends. Yeah. They're like with Sawyer. I love talking about Sawyer. He's just so cool. Like everyone I talk to is just like so cool. Anyway, okay, but yeah, with Sawyer, he wanted to teach his friends chess. Yeah. And so he just started teaching his friends chess. Yeah. And then he started charging for it. And They're doing something real, and that's so gratifying.
And with Chloe, she knew all these things about focus, and she saw that I think her mom was in this thing,
focus group that was for adults.
That was for adults, and she wanted to join. Yeah. She wanted to join, but it was for adults. And so she's like, I'm going to make one for kids. And Focus Friends was born. Yeah. And she wanted to help kids. And she wanted to help kids like herself. It's because they want to help their friends.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Naval Ravikant talks about is that there are two ways to effectively and rigorously test truth. One is nature. So talk about like physics, chemistry. These things aren't going to lie to you. If you do the calculations and they don't pan out, you're wrong, right? Yeah. There's no getting around it. You're
too not bad for you.
Fight the gravity. It's there, right? And then
I will fly. No.
And then the second framework for that is free markets. And it's because, if Sawyer creates a really good chess club, regardless even if he's 7, that tells you a lot about the value that he creates. If somebody is willing to pay for that, right? And I think that that's how we can get away with not having grades at WEquil School, is that the form of assessment that we're using is free markets.
And that's what everyone in the end is using, is creating value. And it's like, okay, if the kids are going to, kids like myself, I keep saying like, oh, these little kids, but if these students are going into a world where you need to create things that are novel and useful to succeed, and that's basically in the end what succeeding is all about, and just living is all about, then why don't you just learn how to do that and learn by doing? Learn by, prepare yourself for the real world by creating those novel and useful things. It's like, it's actually pretty simple.
Well, the nature of success is also one in which that you can just succeed by doing that. If you get 1,000 people to pay you $100 a year who recognize you for your work, that's a pretty good living you got for yourself. Yeah. And if you're willing to just, if you're able to create something that's novel and useful that people are willing to pay for, then there you go. And that's that direct form of just like, I created something valuable and now I can find success. That was not really possible before we had this interconnected, way for people to engage and discover other people.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but now that is possible. And so we have to recognize that when it comes to how do we teach children to operate in this world, and also how do we assess children, because I think that is really what means a lot. Is somebody willing to pay for your product?
Yeah.
Is somebody willing to show up to your event?
Well, I mean, if you want to get a good look at what it was like in the Industrial Revolution, take a look at public school, because that was what it was made for. It was made to prepare kids for that environment. You know, the bell rings, you go and follow instructions, and you follow instructions, and you do the thing. But now now the world's changed, like we always say. And if you want to assess them, then it's going to be a lot more different.
Yeah, and it is really about how can I find truth. And the thing about entrepreneurship is that you can't hide from the truth. You can't hide from whether or not people are willing to pay for what you provide. And it's also one in which you're going to be incredibly motivated to learn all the tools along the way, to learn, how do I created this product, I learned how to make a website, how do I market this to people, how do I communicate with my customers, how all of these real world skills that you need to learn. You're motivated, and you're going to effectively learn it in pursuit of creating value and towards something that you're excited about. And I think that if we bring that opportunity to young people, that's a way that you can really start to spark that curiosity, because the truth is, people want to create. People want to add value to others. That's how we get our sense of meaning and purpose, right? And because that's the case, we can leverage that in education to actually to help to really prepare young people for this world.
Yeah.